Good afternoon, everybody. We would like to welcome you out today to our virtual groundbreak event. Simplify your data entry and leave data silos behind. As much as we would enjoy meeting with you in person, it is great that we have the technology to be joining you today from the beaches of the Pacific and also the foothills of the Great Wasatch Front. Thank you for joining our virtual event. Before we get started, we'd like to introduce ourselves. My name is Troy Guevara. I have more than 25 years in the construction industry. As a former owner of a specialty construction company, I now work as a construction technologist to help construction companies marry their construction workflows and processes with the appropriate software to build efficiencies, improve productivity, and increase profitability. Joining me today is my colleague, Matt Slaughter.
Hey everyone, can I just say it's so great to be here with all of you in our 2020 virtual environment where we show resiliency, determination to continue to learn through any and all mediums available. I love it. Just a quick background on myself. I've worked in the construction industry for 17 years, both nationally and globally. Started with my bags on, attending the apprenticeship for 1977 carpenters out of Las Vegas. Grew into project management where I've been working for the last 7 years. Troy, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Matt. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to talk about the current state of the industry. And then I want to introduce a principle that I call the Great Divide. From there, we will dive into the labor variable and talk about where our losses come from. We will then talk about construction technology as a solution, including why systems fail and how to build a complete solution that will maximize your company's efficiencies and productivity. Matt is then going to share with you his experience with some product highlights and some customer experiences. Up until the COVID crisis started, one of the biggest issues we had in the construction industry was the labor shortage, which is one of the downsides of a strong construction market. We are now seeing some correction of the labor shortage, but not the skilled labor shortage. Many of the companies I work with throughout the country are still struggling to obtain skilled labor. Some of the other challenges we face and areas that we're trying to improve are communication from field to office, scheduling, weather impacts, and our most important value of safety. And of course, we always want to protect ourselves from liability issues and strive to keep our cash position strong to ensure a solid financial business. These conditions and other challenges impact how we conduct business and help to drive our everyday workflows so we can perform at the highest levels. One unique challenge that we face as a construction industry is something I call the Great Divide. This exposes one of the issues we deal with every day. On the left, we have the project or the job site. On the right, our office. And our challenge is the ability to communicate across this gulf. When we get more specific, what we find is that we have our operation team on the left. This is where the work is getting done, our source of revenue. On the right, we have in the office our accounting team, most likely our estimating team, and many times our project management team. This dynamic creates some challenges that are mostly unique to the construction industry. As a result, these are some of the challenges that we face. Limited visibility for project managers, delayed responses to urgent job site needs, dependence and a heavy dependence on paper reporting, discrepancies between the job site conditions, plans, and specs, challenges managing our manpower, slow reactions to suddenly changing conditions on the job site. And of course, all of this is exacerbated because of the poor communication between the field and the office. Now, when we look at some of the impacts of this divide, we know it affects our labor. We also know that labor is the single largest variable expense in construction. When we make money, it is most likely because we controlled our labor. When we lose money, it is most likely because we did not control our labor. So that leads us to these questions. First, how do we control labor costs? And second, how can we increase production to improve labor costs? In our attempt to increase production, we run into a few roadblocks. We value safety, so we will never sacrifice safety for the sake of production. And I don't mean to imply that that's a roadblock, but there are some everyday tasks that do get in the way. Things such as reporting and documentation. Those things can get in the way, or sometimes we just ignore them. Employee training or a failure to train can be a deterrent to increase production. Errors, omissions, rework, these happen for a variety of reasons. We will address this in a moment. Project delays, changing weather conditions, cash shortages, And of course, we cannot forget the challenges of waiting for responses to RFIs, change orders, and other similar issues. We also have changes to plans, unseen equipment breakdowns, and sometimes other trades can inhibit our ability to increase production. What we've discovered, and this data that I'm sharing with you right now is a little bit old, but still relevant. In the United States, non-optimal activities are costing the construction industry over $180 billion a year. That is a huge number. And when we dig in and look closer, this is what we discover. 5.5 hours are lost looking for product data and information. 4.7 hours are lost solving conflicts. 3.8 hours are lost dealing with mistakes and rework, which means in total, 35% of our time, or 14 hours per employee per week, are lost unnecessarily. Now, this is based on a 40-hour work week. What we're finding is that 52% of all rework occurs because of poor data or miscommunication. Imagine if we could find a way to even reduce this by a small fraction. How much of that $180 billion would we be able to recover? When we think of the challenges that cause these losses, we discover that many of these losses can be prevented, but we don't arm our employees with the right tools to work with. I'm not talking about hand tools or heavy equipment. I'm talking about construction technology. What I discover the most when working with companies is that many of them are trying to run operations using their accounting software. Even worse is that many of these companies are using an accounting software that is not even built for construction. It may have some job cost features, but it is not a true construction accounting software. This is the equivalent of giving your employees the wrong tools and then expecting them to perform at a higher level. We would never give them the wrong tools because we know how much that would inhibit our production. So the first thing we need to do to fix this is recognize that we have a problem. When you have a true accounting software, it will enable you to track labor and materials at both the cost code and project levels. In addition, it will allow you to track equipment costs, downtime, and other project costs at the project and cost code level. You then need to marry this construction accounting system to the appropriate project management software, because we cannot run operations with an accounting software. Even if you have the best construction accounting platform, you will lack full visibility because accounting is historical and project management is forward-thinking. A better way to look at it is like this. If we want to better manage our labor, we have to measure our labor. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. Now, many people will say that we do that already, and you may, but it will be historical at best. If you're really measuring labor, you're doing it in real time with projected budgets so you can manage both the dollars and the manpower. And to the credit of many companies, they see this same chasm that I've been talking about. They know that to improve production, they need to close this gap so that the exchange of information is much faster and more reliable. So where do we begin? We realize we need to invest in construction technology. Let me give you the three biggest reasons companies begin to invest in field technology. First, they want better access to project data and project information. Second, they want to improve productivity. And third, they want to improve the accuracy in the project data and the other information coming from the job site. But here's a predicament that they find themselves in. Most companies and most owners just don't know what they don't know. With so many products on the market, where do we begin? Remember my comment earlier about true construction accounting? With so many products, how do we know if we have the right one? Unfortunately, many times we don't. What happens most often is that in our hasty attempt to solve the issue, we do so with a reactive approach. We rush to find a solution and end up investing in technology that is insufficient for what we need. To all of you out there that have done this, great, I get it. And good for you for trying to find a solution. I wish we'd met sooner. These Band-Aid solutions often result in a new set of issues and challenges, including more manual entry, untrained personnel, and even employee resistance to the new solution. In addition, the half-hearted attempt by employees to adopt will often result in frustrated employees, which will slow production even more. And this is why construction technology often fails. Companies look for a solution without recognizing that they need both a construction accounting solution and a project management solution. It takes both. In addition, the product is difficult to use, and they don't get trained or don't train their employees. And oftentimes the product they purchase doesn't fit with their current processes. Obviously, you're doing something right. And so if these processes of the technology don't fit with yours, then it's not the right system. But most of all, the biggest reason it fails is because of a lack of integration with the existing software and technology. So how do we get started the right way? First, you need a core accounting software, something that is modular so you can purchase the parts you need, but not the parts you don't. A robust construction accounting system. For example, an MEP contractor has different needs than a structural concrete contractor. There are only a handful of construction accounting platforms that offer these capabilities. One thing to look for is that it must have a job costing solution with budgeting, forecasting capabilities that include projects, cost codes, and allocation of equipment. Second, and this is why we're here today, you need a solid project management software that has a direct API integration with your core accounting system. What this does is it allows the accountants to live in accounting and project managers to live in project management. The key to this is the sharing of the data so there's no need for manual entry or double entry between the two products. More importantly, it gives us real-time data. When we accomplish this, we merge accounting and operations to create a single software system that has both project management and construction capabilities that are fully integrated and gives you real-time data. I'm going to turn some time over to Matt now so that he can share with you some of his victories.
Troy, thanks so much for the delivery of information affecting all our lives who work in this industry. So now let's talk about the tools and what the tools look like for the companies who choose to walk the path of improved efficiency, effectiveness, and output. I'm going to start with our story and intermingle our story with some of the tools so you can provide context to it. We started with a growth experience over the last 4 years, and the purpose of Procore was to originally streamline field tracking. It then expanded into the turnkey platform that we use to run our jobs today. So the question is, why software? We vetted several companies over several meetings, several phone calls, and tons of how our use. We finally came down to 3 and presented it down to 1 once we narrowed it, and we chose Procore, and here's why. The training offered by the software partner to get the ball rolling. A turnkey standardized platform that encompasses all departments of any construction operation. It's pretty, it's professional, and the customer service and Procore's openness to adapt and modify its tools so the product only keeps getting better. So at the inception, again, research. Find the best partner that works for your company, its culture, and its systems. Know that the thing within the organizations will change after you adopt tech. So you really want a partner, not just a vendor. Get buy-in from all the stakeholders, and especially get the executive team to buy in. They will be the greatest asset in adoption and implementation. But if you don't have absolute buy-in, expect to hit walls. But don't worry. Don't look back after you purchase and start the implementation. After hitting hundreds of walls and being absolutely exhausted at times, the question popped into my head of why the heck I took this on, and always went back to my why. And my why was to improve the working lives of my colleagues and the efficiency of Victory Woodworks. So remember your why and pick it and stick it. So at implementation, first and foremost, a system will only operate if it's given a set of rules. The rules created to follow within the systems give sense of orderliness to the chaos of daily company operations and provide a foundation to measure. If everyone is doing something different, you can't measure each individual in an operation. So to create scale, you want to measure a system of 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 people as a whole. So with accountability, the lesson here is every member of the team, department, and system from executive suite down are held accountable to using the program within the SOPs and guidelines written and designed for your company. I like this quote when I say tech is customizable and can fit your systems, or your systems can fit tech. The only way that works is by taking glue to it, and accountability is your glue. Finally, with creativity, mash it all together, and what do you get? A bunch of good ideas, tested until something works, and then you document what worked. Over and over until the system is so tight, the machine is purring. This is only achievable by the creative efforts of a combined group with the freedom to think, test, and execute. Creativity is like a waterfall if it's allowed to be free, but once the sense of freedom and openness is removed, it's like building a dam. Give people the space to think freely and truly watch how intelligent the business unit you operate is and will continue to be. The use, this is the fun part. This is where you get to go down every rabbit hole in every tool to see the capabilities of the tool and its users. This is where messing up is fun. A little bit stressful, but fun because you learn something new by messing up. My mentor once told me that everything worth doing is worth doing poorly. Because once you do it one time, the second time you're better, the third time you're even better, and so on. My experience at Victory, it took time to really see the effects of our software partner had on our company. But when the field really began adopting and understanding documentation of sites, our data bank grew tenfold and the time spent decreased some, but we're still in the learning curve and that curve is trending upward. A few of the qualitative benefits that we've experienced by using software in our operations programs is reduced rework, cost savings from reducing the schedule duration, improved documentation of site impacts, win and manage more projects with existing staff, and recruit the best talent. Having a technology stack with a newer workforce will become increasingly important. Best question, ever feel like the office and the field are speaking two different languages? They are. And Procore is a tool to allow different entities to reconcile those languages into one common language by combining elements of accounting and field management. Speaking a unified language is the #1 element to globally create connectivity. We can do that through technological advancements. So I go back to what I said earlier. The beautiful structure of tech allows one to retrofit current systems to fit tech, or retrofit tech to fit the current systems. It's not an all or nothing thing. The idea is to move small stones that eventually end up moving the mountain. Victory tried to move the mountain overnight. Literally, we rolled all the tools out and put all of the new jobs within the system in the first 12 to 16 weeks of use. And we quickly realized that it was going to be difficult to adopt all at once. So we moved to a strategy of breaking down the mountain through focused use and training of individual tools, stone by stone, PM by PM, foreman by foreman, and tool by tool. After implementation is where I realized I needed to bring the teams together, field, office, and accounting. We had meetings once a week for another 3 to 4 months following implementation, where we covered each tool extensively. And this aided in the creating the systems that not only fit the company, but also fit the culture. Accounting, project management, and field operations as an all-in-one tool. We go back to what Troy said by bridging the divide through technology, providing a single source standardized platform, which allows everyone on the project team to communicate and work together to effectively bring home a project the team and clients all want to talk about. But real quick, a standardized single source often takes 2 or more softwares combining through an open API to create the single source, as Troy mentioned. The 3 items you see on the slide are just a few of the items Victory was looking to optimize, and I'm going to dive in on some specifics on a few tools that have been important to us in the following slides. So now let's really connect the field and office. Financials are the heart and blood of any company. These following tools are the veins, arteries, and channels that help a project be successful. They're what moves money and makes clogs become apparent. Consider these the doctor's tools to finding problems. So if you want to innovate, a team has to collaborate, feel safe to ask questions, and generate ideas. Collaboration is the key to unlock higher margins and bring teams tighter. So let's start with RFIs. What can any one individual in the construction industry say about RFIs? No one has to mention the importance of the tool in any manager's arsenal, both field and office. With tech, you can store and distribute all from one place, stamp on drawings to pinpoint exact locations of the RFI in the field, and provide photos to keep every department in the know with one simple click. Publish, distribute, and see your team go to work effectively answering these questions. Previously, in my experience, sometimes RFIs were actually written in emails and occasionally in the company format, and now they're written in style. This was a really big and easily obtained win for Victory. It's something any one person in the trades understands, and it was easy to pick up and open the floodgates into learning Procore and its functions for Victory. Next, observations. Observations is the unifying tool for Victory Field and Office to communicate about site issues and discrepancies. Another simple tool added to the deck after RFIs that furthered our adoption of Procore. On a recent project, my foreman and I wrote over 180 observations over a 9-month period, tracking field conditions and potential changes to the project. Not only was I able to use this as backup documentation, I was also able to keep my GC informed with consistent and clear information, a value add for both Victory and our client. So daily log, this is really where the rubber met the road for Victory Woodworks. It was our start, where tech and Victory began. We wanted to modernize our field and rid pen and paper to replace with digital media. Our field team absolutely loves this tool. It's their go-to and took hold immediately after training and implementation. Victory foremen are able to take photos, connect manpower logs, write notes, and track all site elements in one place at one time. At early adoption on a project, a foreman and I were discussing how to track everything that was happening because there was so much going on. And we took away the pen and paper, so we kind of glitched the system a little bit. But I couldn't have been more happy to be on site with this gentleman at that time, and more lucky. I walked through the functions of the daily log step by step, and when he saw how pictures and words can meet collectively on the same document, it was an instant mind shift. This guy now creates some of the most thorough documentation I've seen coming from our field in operations. They just needed the right tool. Time collection. This was another early driver for tech adoption at Victory. Really an extension of a daily log, but something that can connect to accounting and gets rid of the pen and paper. But this one didn't come without its aches and pains for the field for adoption. And let me say, it's changed how we work. By tagging locations to each employee, indicating where they worked and the time they spent, the Victory team is able to really find where areas could be falling behind and require course correction, and then put together a strategy of correction based on real-time data. It's been a game changer. For example, I just finished up a project in San Francisco where Victory was installing wall panels in the entrance lobby of a residential tower. The budget was tight, but we knew we could win. After the first couple of days of work, we noticed our time compared to budget wouldn't quite forecast a profit, so we decided to change a few things up. We found out who was really good at doing certain things and put them there. We moved tools as close as possible to the work area. And then we also modified a lot of the cleating that was on the back of the panels hanging to the wall. This course correction and teamwork brought Victory a nice profit and delivered a project on time and under budget. Digitizing drawings is the holy grail, and it's where Victory saw a need that could be met, a need of having constant updated information between field and office. How many times have we done tasks in this industry off outdated drawings? This was one of our priorities. Reduce rework and capture potentially lost dollars by ensuring up-to-date drawings in the hands of individuals executing the work. And as I said, drawings catch on quickly in this industry. They're kind of the Bible. So once our team at Victory saw how quickly they could be seeing updated drawings and putting comments on those drawings, it was a hook, line, and sinker. This tool allowed our field team to catapult the PM to foreman relationship by speaking the common language while looking at the same documents, effectively decreasing the time spent on communication by narrowing the question field. Our jobs tend to be scattered all around the state of California. Our supers and foremen travel to these jobs to take field dimensions, oftentimes driving 8+ hours to get there. Just last week, our super was on a project in Central California taking field dimensions, and while he was looking through the drawings, he noticed they weren't updated against recent red lines. Boom, I took action and had an uploaded set within minutes. Then on the same project, the super left, I was scanning the field dimensions and realized a few were missing, and my stomach dropped because he literally drove 7 hours to get there. So I called him quickly, and luckily they just weren't published, which means no matter what markup you put on the drawings, they live in your account, but the rest of the team can't see them until they're published. Huge relief. So accessing the documents that were once siloed, realizing the efficiency of a turnkey platform brought us to focus in on how we can relay and provide access to saved project documents across the entire company. Our server remained online to the PMs up until about 6 months ago. The catalyzing effect was the ability to edit Excel and Word docs from inside Procore and not having to save in different places. Over time, we saved more documents in the document tree than the server, and then finally completely made the leap. This really helped increase the use of Procore because now we all live in the cloud. I was also so thrilled that one day I got a call from our project accountant, absolutely elated that Procore has opened up the ability to edit these Excel sheets from within Procore on the cloud, and she just rambled on about, did you notice 2 people can be in the sheet at the same time editing items? Talk about awesome. And I couldn't agree with her more. So the labor by location, as a turnkey subcontracting company that both manufactures and installs high-end architectural millwork, tracking our labor was where the rubber meets the road. We really wanted to see how labor in the field was progressing or not. We needed a tool to see where time was being spent, and the locations tool did just that for us while waiting for our ERP to fully integrate. Victory opened this up on every project from the beginning, clearly defining in the SOPs how to set it up and the why. We really wanted to capture the work breakdown of each project, floor by floor or item by item, and bring the PM and foreman team closer before install kicked off. PM and foreman working together, getting their heads in early, and sharing a mutual understanding of the entire scope of the project. I just finished a handoff to the install for a project we're doing in Fresno. The GF and I meticulously devoured the drawings and broke this project down into little trackable stones. Each of these stones became a location, and each location has a budget of time and ability to track time against that budget, all based on locations. Now each week, I send a labor by location report for the field team to view to see the health status of each item. Let's move into budgets. It's our next frontier at Victory is implementing the financials, and a few of our priorities are on the slide. We've done the first one on the left, and we're working towards the others. And it's been an extremely positive experience to partner with Procore and our accounting software to solve Victory's needs. And because Victory has implemented the operational tools and had an excellent experience, we think financials is going to go well. I'm actually heading up to headquarters next week to get the ball rolling. Stay tuned. There's so many great tools in this arsenal. I wish I had more time to go through each of them with you in great depth, but if you want to talk more throughout the conference or have any questions, give me a shout or look me up on LinkedIn. So finally, I'm going to close on this one with our goals. What Troy said earlier, bridge the gap and connect the gap. Catalyze tech advancement and watch your team grow. Operating within a system is the most surefire way to measure results. Let tech help systematize operations in a way to ease constraints and truly measure day-to-day capabilities on the system itself. Troy, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Thank you, Matt. What Matt has just shared with you is a project management software that brings accountability to the field. This is a far cry from the construction industry of old, where you increased production by yelling, and the way you knew you made money was there was money left in the bank after the job was closed out. Now you have a system that empowers your team to be accountable to themselves, to the team on site, and to the office. A system that provides real-time data to the entire company. A system that eliminates excuses, and a system that has been designed to adapt to your workflows and your processes. The Procore platform is built like any good construction project. It starts with a solid foundation, or a platform that allows you to build upon it. Procore has been designed with the specialty contractor in mind. Its foundation has been built upon principles that data used correctly will improve performance. When we talk about having the right tools in the hands of our employees, this is the right tool. Just as you would never ask your team to dig a large hole with a shovel, you would provide them a backhoe because you know the return on investment of that backhoe is a much more solid investment. Procore is a backhoe to the shovel that you are currently providing your employees. Make the investment, and you will discover that Procore will improve your employees' performance, increase productivity, create accountability, and improve profitability. We want to thank you for your attendance today, and Matt, thank you for your time. Everybody have a great day.
Have a great one. Thank you very much.